Hello guys, so what did Tesla do today? Um, well, it looked like so far it followed um, what the chart showed us. I told you the last video I had with Tesla, I told you that there are three ways that it might follow. Either it would go sideways at first, or jump up to this level over here before it goes down. Um, A third lesser probability, but still a probability, is to move up to this level over here at 38.2% fib retracement. Well, what it did was it gapped up and tried to challenge. It didn't quite reach that level and fell. Uh, so that means that it doesn't have that much strength. It wasn't even able to challenge this level. So that means it's already weakening, especially since this level is strong because it's a fib level and it was prior support and resistance. So also there is this gap over here um, which would act as resistance. I think this gap over here, it just went up to fill this gap, and it's probably going to go down again to fill this gap and maybe move here to support and maybe up, or it could break down. So those are the things that it's probably going to do. But for me, when it gapped up and the stock was bearish, then that would be a very good entry point over here when the moment it gapped up. If you and of course you have to set your stop here because you could be wrong. It could go here, so you have to place your stops close by, and then any bearish stocks that would gap up at the open is usually going to go down quickly. So it would be nice to enter anywhere over here when it opened, then somewhere when it rose, um, because you can't always enter at the open, right? But I mean, when I say enter, that's the goal. But you can maybe you'd enter here, then so much better. And if you didn't, then you might have entered the moment it broke this level over here. It had a mini support, and when it broke that over here, you might enter here short. And if you do that, you could place a stop here or here, and then ride it until it fills the gap. If that's enough for you, you can take profit there because that's already safe, or you can take profit over here when it reaches um, support level, previous lows, or you can just hold it until it breaks down. If ever it goes up, well, you have a stop here, so you have no fear. It is a strong resistance. Um, you can just add every time it goes up here, over here. You just add to your shorts. Then that's one thing that you can do. That's one thing that of course you have to put a stop here because there is a probability that it's going to go up here before it goes down. So while I had been saying that Tesla had been showing bearish tendencies, never assume that it will go down instantly. It might go up a bit first before it goes down. So this is not an impossibility. No. So, but since but in trading, we are not only talking of possibility and impossibility. We are talking about probability, which has a greater probability. And for me, the greater probability is these two over here. This one is probable, but a little bit less so. So that's how you trade. That's how you plan for your trade, and always consider that you might be wrong. Always consider that. That's why we use stops, because in case we are wrong, which we often would be, then our risk is limited. and then we can go again here for a bigger, even juicier short. So, but that's it. So when it was here, I considered two things that are more probable and one that is slightly less. But now it would seem like, oh, this is good entry point over here, somewhere over here. And if you're lucky, but you can't always enter at peaks, peak low or peak high. It's usually not possible. It's so hard to do that. So, but you can any entry over here and the break over here, maybe this one, as long as you set your stops properly, like here or here for short term. If you want, if you want to get out of this uh, level when the gap is filled, then you can set a tighter stop. But if you want to ride this as it goes up and down, then a safer stop would be somewhere above this level or even above this high, like that. Just so that if ever it goes a bit slightly intraday, it breaks this intraday, goes down, you won't be stopped out. You can still ride a trend and you can still add and wait for the breakout. Of course, another way is to just wait for it to break down over here and place a stop sell or stop limit sell order, so that your order fills the moment it breaks down. That's another thing, but you can also ride this over here. Like this gap here, you can trade this gap. Some people like trading the gap. If it's bearish, they would enter at a gap up, so that there are two forces that would work in their favor: the filling of the gap and the inherent bearishness of the stock. Okay, so just like this one, it was bearish and then it gapped up. If you entered here and then you set your stops over here or maybe here, depending, then you would ride, and boom, it would fill. So it's a very nice strategy if a bearish stock would gap up. If a bearish stock gaps down, well, be careful with that, because just like this, even if it's bearish but it gapped down over here, it's going to go up slightly, like so. Okay, so but it's bearish and it gapped up, well, that's a good thing for me. That's for me a good entry level over here somewhere. And if you were lucky, you'd enter here. Great. If you waited for a break of this level, which is good, which is safe, then you enter maybe around here, then that's also great. If you want to trade the gap, that means it's just going to be very short term. You can place a stop here, and then so on and so forth. Or here, if you want more safer, um, longer term trade, if you want to go here and exit here, maybe place your stop here. If you want to really ride this range and then add at every rally or at every peak, if you want to add to your short, then maybe it would be safer to put your stops over here so that you won't easily be stopped out if an intraday candle, like if or rather intra candle, because this is intraday already, right? So if candle just like this, see this upper wick, it went up but immediately went down. So to protect yourself from that, then maybe you'd place stop here if you really wanted to ride it a bit. So that's it. So that's it for Tesla, and this is nice for nice. It provided nice entry for another nice entry for going for riding this stock. See you again next time.